It's Mystery Pony Fiction Interviews, co-hosted by Shakespearicles and Leviathan Eclipse, featuring authors from Fimfiction.net to tell us the stories behind their stories.
Welcome, bronies, to Mystery Pony Fiction Interviews. This is the show where I will be interviewing MLP fanfiction writers that I have made audiobooks for over the last 5 years. I'll be joined by my co-host Shakespearicles, who is the man, the myth, the legend, world's strongest writer, and Leviathan Eclipse, who doesn't seem to know about TV shows and movies because they still read words like someone from the 1800s. Each episode, I intend to bring on a new fanfiction writer to discuss themselves and their inspiration for their writing. This time we have a highly productive and respected writer on Fimfiction.net that calls themselves Casketbase77. So let's start with your name, Casketbase77. How did you come up with that?
Oh, yeah. It's an old pun. If you flip the first two letters of casket base, it becomes basket case.
Yeah, I figured that out.
Yeah.
So you consider yourself a bit of a crazy person then? That's why I went with that name?
I just appreciate wordplay. I actually have an English degree. I listen to a lot of hoity-toity lyrical music.
Yeah.
And they say if you're going to steal from the best. So emulate the wordplay.
I guess that's why you're one of the best writers on the site, since you're actually formally educated in it, just like Shakespearicles is.
Real recognizes real.
Yeah. And I
use that line in the pre-show.
Yeah. I forgot to ask this last show, but Leviathan Eclipse, what's the story behind your name?
Well, I was kind of raised in a religious background, and after I kind of got disillusioned with that, I became a Satanist for a few years, and I really like the idea of the symbolism of Satanism still, even though I'm not a Satanist anymore. And I always like the story of the Leviathan, both as from the Bible and also adapted by popular media. And Eclipse comes from it's an homage to my cousin whose username is Spiritual Eclipse, and also because we both also really like eclipses because they're freaking awesome. I mean, look at my profile picture. That's
Yeah.
No dissenting
you
opinions
can't look
here.
at that and tell me it's not awesome. So yeah, that's the gist of my username.
Cool.
Origin.
All right, now we're going to go on to the first segment. Now, when I was editing this last time, I tried to make Suno-generated, intro things, but I found that it was pretty bad at it. I wasn't really happy with how it turned out. So instead, I'm going to, with my voice, say out the segment name, and then I'm going to put the music in afterwards. So, we're going to start with Casket Base. I want to know your Super Brony Origin Story. Tell us.
Give it a few seconds there. Yeah, give a few seconds there to let the musical sting die down for dramatic effect. Very good. All right. Well, I do have I hope it's a decent enough story. I can pin down the exact instant I became a brony. So, I'm part of what you would call Wave 2. I was not one of the original 4chaners, unlike some of our distinguished podcast members here. I had a buddy. I won't divulge his name because he's not actually in the fandom anymore. But back when we were in middle school or so, he was one of the OG bronies, and he'd occasionally, drop mentions to it. We'd be playing Smash Bros, and he'd pick Ganondorf, and I'd say, anyone who wears a cape's kind of desperate. And he said, don't you rag on Trixie like that. So he would pique my interest. And at one point, I was over at his place, like, after school or something, and he said, hey, I want to show you a couple episodes. And I thought, okay, I'm down. I'll watch it. And it was the season 2 two-parter where we get introduced to Discord. And I'm watching through it, and I don't know who anyone is. I vaguely know who Rainbow Dash is because, she's one of the faces of the property. And I think the villain's cool. Like, oh yeah, his weapon is continuity errors. That's cute. But the exact moment I got hooked, and like try to visualize this, it's the scene after Twilight gets all grayed out and is walking sad, and Screwball drifts by. You guys know that background pony?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So when that happened, my friend paused it and pointed at Screwball and said, I want you to remember this character because I'm going to show you something after this episode's over. And I said, okay. And can any of you guys guess what he showed me afterwards? This was in 2011.
That music video starring Screwball.
Yep, it was the Daddy Discord video. And he
Okay.
said, yeah, so this is like a background character who was on screen for 2 seconds and had no lines. And this is what a member of the fan base did with that. And my little 14-year-old mind was absolutely blown. Because I had never fathomed that you could do this with a TV show. Just pick a character and say, I like that character. I'm going to make something starring them. And after that, I was like it was like my first hit. I was like, you got any more of this? And he said, let's watch Last Roundup. And why do you think he showed me Last Roundup?
Derpy.
Yup. So he showed me that, and then he showed me some YouTube videos about the original Derpy voice and Derpy Gate. And I remember just going home that day, and my mind was just whirling, like, Screwball and Derpy. They're not, like, part of the show, but if you watch the show, you can pick them out and say, these are mine. I'm going to do stuff with them. I'm going to write stories. I'm going to make music videos. I'm going to draw fan art. I can do whatever I want. And I don't know. I was one of those kids who played with Bionicles growing up. I loved picking apart stuff and putting them back together in my own way. So this all came back, and from then on, I was just kind of hooked on it. I wanted to make stories about the funny cartoon horses, preferably ones that were dubiously canon, as we'll see with a couple of stories we talk about today. And yeah, from then on, I was just super jazzed.
Yeah. So when did you start writing about it? Right away? At 14?
You know, you guys can dispute this. I think everyone starts off with their pony fan fiction. You start off with some story that is way too big before you have any sense of good taste or creative restraint.
Yep.
And yeah, am I right?
Yeah, I've got
Right with me.
unfinished novels that will never be finished.
Yep. And because you wrote it when you were like 14 or 15, there's a good reason that you will never show it to anyone.
The fan fiction I wrote when I was 14 was about Dungeons and Dragons and Super Smash Bros.
I'd read that.
Yeah, like on par with the Subspace Emissary guy.
Yeah.
Legendary fan fiction.
Yeah, I was like super hyped by, I think it was Melee. No, I think it was Brawl, because that's the one with the campaign. Yeah, I was writing fan fiction about that and having Sonic and all them fighting each other.
Yeah. So for me, I drafted up this ridiculous, like 80 chapter outline of Screwball basically being a Mary Sue, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that, like, even if I summarized it, it wouldn't make sense. Like, Vinyl Scratch and Derpy go on a side quest that takes up way too much of the story. So by the time a couple years later, when I came to my senses and went, wait, I shouldn't make this. I should make something else that's not horribly embarrassing and self-indulgent. Or at least not both of those things at the same time. So, flash forward to about 2019 or so, which is when I had reliable internet access. I grew up in a rural area, so I didn't have a lot of internet growing up.
Oh yeah, I know what
But
that's like. I used to have to use like a USB stick with only like 10 gigabytes a month on it, and had to really conserve my internet.
gotta make that
Well
stretch.
into my 20s, I was doing that, which was so annoying.
Yeah, so I'm going a bit long here with my backstory. I'll wrap it up. Around 2019 or so, when I got reliable internet access, I started browsing Derpy Boru, the main public facing fan art site for the fandom, and the MLP subreddit. And on Thursdays, they had what was called the snippet thread, where you could just post a couple paragraphs or even like just one paragraph, just any like workshop story you want to do. And I kind of impromptu became the picture prompt guy. I would post like 4 pictures that I thought might be fun to write blurbs for. Like one was Limestone talking to a younger version of herself. And that's actually how I met one of my friends in the fandom, Comma Typer. Shout out to Comma. He's active on Fimfiction, although he's semi-retired now. But yeah, I that kind of became my loop for a while. Was just browsing Derpy Boru, seeing pictures that made me go, "Oh, that looks like that has a story behind it," and making a story for to go with it. And about 50 uploads on Fimfiction later, I'm still at it. Not as prolific as I used to be, but I'm still at it. Picture prompts, the snippet series, that's my bread and butter.
Yeah, cool. Who's that face on your avatar there?
Oh, my avatar is a bit edited right now because it's December. I got the Santa hat, but it is Braveheart from the movie. Mel Gibson playing
Oh yeah.
Braveheart, yelling "freedom."
Okay.
William
And
Wallace.
Yeah, and he's edited over a drawing of a cartoon cockroach guy. This was a big inside joke in like one of my literary classes, which is a whole nother explanation. But the joke was we had the picture, we had the Braveheart face that would just kind of float around the room. It would be pinned in strange places, and it wound up on the picture of the doodle of the cockroach. And it was really funny for like one day, and I snapped a picture of it.
Cool.
And then like 5 years later, when I got internet and had to have a online avatar, I thought, okay, what funny photos do I have in my camera roll that don't show my real face online? And I thought, oh, here we go, Braveheart Cockroach Man. Let's stick that. And I've been stuck with it for the past like 5 years.
Cool. All right. Now let's move on to the first story. So when I do the post editing of this, I'm gonna have
The
the
flourish.
chorus of the Suno song that I make for the story. So I'm gonna have to make that for this because I haven't made a Suno song for this story yet because it was so long ago.
Yeah, you did for a couple of them though.
Yeah, yeah. So, oh crap! I've just got written here. Unicorn thinks. What was the full name
Yeah.
again?
This is how a unicorn thinks.
That's right.
And even my own thoughts feel too loud and too cold. I'm lonely in the quiet, lost inside my head, trying to be cheerful in a world that feels half dead. If every day is silence and every smile pretend, then maybe somewhere out there is a place my heart can mend.
Okay, so that was the very first Gen 5 reading I ever did. So I must have done it shortly after the movie came out. And yeah, obviously my first one had to be about Izzy. And yeah, I really like this story because it explores yeah, what it would have been like being Izzy Moonbow while Bridalwood was all sad and was probably growing up the whole time there. So that's my little synopsis. How would you give your story a synopsis?
Yeah, I think I wrote this one. Like I said, snippets are my bread and butter, where I find a picture on Derpy Boru and then expand on it. And for this one, it was a little more involved because there's that scene in the movie where everyone shows up at Izzy's place for the first time, and she's super excited to have a tea party. And then I can't remember who. It's either like Zip or Sunny or someone says, "No, we're here on business. We got to find the other crystal." And there's that brief shot of Izzy looking sad, like just standing with their teacup all by herself, and that's the screenshot I used as the picture. And I thought, and maybe I'll try to do a little character vignette on Izzy. You know, she has all these arts and crafts and stuff at her place, and obviously doesn't have any friends to share them with. Maybe I'll like do a little slice of life for her before she, you know, got her gumption out to kickstart the movie's plot and go meet Sunny. And I didn't know how much I would get out of this because I think it's the shortest fic I have published. It's like less than 1,100 words. I had to insert that flashback convo to get it to publishable length. But I do like this one. I think Izzy is a character that's really easy to like infantilize her because she's the happy-go-lucky la-di-da character. You know, a lot like the new version of Pinky. But I don't know. For this one, I did my best to make her endearing. When she makes tea, she refers to her tea selection as dippy bags. Uh, she doesn't. The word lonely doesn't come up once in the fic. Instead, it's the quiet, and she says, "I hate the quiet," and she knows it's bad to hate things, but she does, and that frustrates her. It's the thing that does bug me about this in hindsight is it has like a really bad continuity error where Izzy finds the lantern and then heads out the same day, which canonically she found it as a kid, and there's like a whole there's a whole like canon comic explaining why she takes her time. Like there are a lot of fics
I
about
didn't
like Izzy
remember.
before that.
Yeah, I didn't necessarily
I know.
remember that. Seemed I didn't notice that because I didn't remember
Okay.
that. Yeah, Izzy was young when she got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, screw canon.
I just assumed that it was a very well built, long lasting lantern.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it works for the fic. I was gonna say there are other fics on the site that take into account that Izzy found it as a kid and didn't work up the courage to go pursue that. Shout out to my friend Straight Aura, who wrote a really good Halloween themed story where Izzy finds the lantern but doesn't know what to do with it. So she talks to the tree that gives good advice. And the story's called Sparkles and the Bits and Bobs That Bind Them. So you can probably guess who the ghost in the tree is. But yeah, I consider that like a good comparison piece to This Is How a Unicorn Thinks. That was me riffing on Izzy's origin story. That was Straight Aura riffing on it. We're pretty good friends. We've had guest uploads on one another's accounts. We've swapped account names for April Fools before. Yeah, just shout out to my friend who compliments my works.
Yeah, I should probably check out his profile, see if there's anything worth reading. Another thing I wanted to mention about that fic. So my audiobook series has gone through a lot of different evolutions. So when I did This Is How Unicorn Thinks, I was using artlist music, which was legitimate music from actual artists that I was paying $30 a month for, and it also included like a massive library of sound effects, and like it was so good that I could pretty much think of like create a sound effect for just about everything that happens in the story. And I was in a bit of a phase when I was making those stories back then where I was putting heaps and heaps of sound effects in the in the audiobooks, and got a bit carried away with it. And I kind of slowly started to put less and less sound effects in, especially when I finally started using AI music. And the reason I used AI music is because Artlist started suddenly after about being with them loyally for 3 years. They started copyright striking my videos. They changed something where they just started, copyright striking.
For
And
you for
while
using music that you paid for
Yeah,
from their
exactly.
backlog.
Yeah, exactly.
Oi.
Yeah. So what happened was, um, oh man, I
Yeah,
had
so
a
you
bit of a
pivoted
brain
to
fart.
AI music. Yeah, you
Yes.
pivoted to AI.
Yeah, because of that reason, and even though it was as simple as just sending them an email and saying, I have the right to use this music. Please correct this. Please take the copyright claim away. Like they were claims. They weren't like what do you call it? Strikes. They were just sharing the revenue or whatever. But it was still, as an independent one-person team that does my channel, it was a huge amount of extra work to send these emails back and forth and wait for the monetization to be restored or whatever other consequence there was. So
Yeah, well,
because of
not to
that
mention
reason,
the insult.
the what?
Yeah, not to mention the insult to you.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you're a loyal customer and they don't value you.
yeah. So that is essentially the reason why I moved away from Artlist. Now I just use sound effects off free sound, and I use them less because there isn't as much variety. There's not as good sound effects, but it means my workflow is a bit faster without having to worry about sound affecting everything. And yeah, that's why I just gave up on doing the legitimate music. I do feel some moral fault to myself for making that change, but essentially, yeah, I just if I wanted to keep
I
having
think
music in my fix, I just had to do it because it was too much of a pain in the ass with Artlist anymore.
Yeah, I think those of us who know you, we can vouch for your integrity there. There are people who use AI music because they're lazy. There are some who use it as a tool. I think we all know where you stand.
Yeah, yeah. So sometimes I
Yeah,
do it to get something lazy on my channel, just to when I'm taking a break or whatever. But yeah, I do understand that some people might have moral problems with me using AI music, but I just thought that explanation might help sort of
oh yeah.
explain why I do it now.
Well, I myself was very pleasantly surprised listening through a couple of the other fics we'll talk about today and hearing songs for him at the end. That was
Yeah,
very flattering.
Yeah,
Uh,
and not to get too deep into it, I'm actually not too worried about the AI scene because from the sounds of it, it's becoming the next bubble after like the tech bubble, the .com bubble, the housing bubble. It's another one of these things where like there's all this funding getting poured into it, but there's no revenue being generated, so it's going to collapse probably pretty soon.
yeah,
So we'll see how that shakes out.
yeah.
yeah.
So
The
we're
other
getting in while the getting's good.
Yeah, sorry.
Sure.
One other thing that pissed me off about Artlist is that they're now doing making AI videos and stuff, which seemed like hypocritical for them. And I don't know, they're probably going to start doing AI music soon as well. And they're essentially not even going to, even if I went back to them, they would be an AI company instead of the legitimate company that it used to be. Anyway, sorry for talking
Yeah.
about myself so much.
No, it works fine.
Now I'd like Leviathan Eclipse to tell us what he thought about that story.
Honestly, it was. I don't read a lot of G5 stories, so it was honestly pretty good. Um, just the way that you captured the childlike innocence of Izzy, um, trying to figure out like what to do with herself, how to um, her internal struggles. Um, it was definitely one of those stories that um, packs a bigger punch than you initially think from the outset. Um,
Yeah, there's
uh,
really not much to say. Not much happens in it. It's just a
yeah,
character snapshot.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Well,
is pretty
still,
short.
it's pretty well written overall, I'd say.
Yeah, it
Uh,
went over a lot better than I expected. I just kind of churned it out. But anyone who's published a lot of stories can say sometimes the ones you don't expect are the ones that really get traction.
oh yeah, I can definitely
Oh,
relate to
I
that.
can definitely relate to that as well. Like some of my lowest effort fics, fic readings are the ones that get the most views. And I'm like, oh man. But, my last one that got like 10 views, I put so much more effort into it.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. Well, one thing I think
No
I
accounting
found out
for
is
tips.
that I should be doing more human in Equestria fan fictions, because it's pretty much all my human in Equestria readings that have tended to blow up, you know, even if they have an average amount of effort in them.
Just stay away from the lost element. Just stay away from that.
Yeah.
Although you probably wouldn't want to read it for the same reason you don't want to read Diaries of a Madman, because it's so freaking long.
Yeah, I did an April Fool's joke where I tried to like render like a 50-hour video and put it up as a joke, but that was too difficult. So I just like rendered like a 15-minute video where I just read snippets randomly selected out of like chapter 1, then chapter 500, then chapter 1,000, and just read like 2 minutes of it, and then
One of
Excuse
the
you, there's
one,
only like 220 something chapters.
right, but one of the pieces of advice I give to prospective writers is that stories are a lot like a penis. It's nice to have one, and it's nice to brag about its length, and it's impressive, but eventually it gets to a certain point where it's so big that it starts to scare people away.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I definitely.
Shakespearicles
Somehow I
showing
knew you were
his
gonna go there.
Shakespearicles showing his linguistic training here. Beautiful metaphors.
He is
Yeah.
a cunning linguist.
All right. How about we get some of that cunning linguisticness for what you thought of his fic, Shakes?
Oh, for this is how a unicorn thinks.
Yep.
I think it was a good take on like the perspective of somebody who's got like an anxiety disorder, which would be suitable for Izzy. Like Izzy strikes me as an anxious character. That's where that like hyperactivity comes from, and just her just being alone with her thoughts isn't necessarily a hell for her, but this is a window into that world of just her, you know, narrating everything that's happening to herself, and then finally deciding, you know what, no, I'm gonna remove myself from this bad situation, and then go on this adventure. And honestly, it was just even just like a minor edit of just like having that note, not necessarily just showing up right then and there, but like her like maybe rediscovering it, like she like you could have a flashback scene with her finding it when she was younger and not really knowing what to do, but then like then discovering where Maritime Bay is, and then once she finds that, remember, oh yeah, I got that note, and then going there, see, I wonder if I still have friends in Maritime Bay. That those are my only notes. Other than that, it was great.
Son of a broodmare. That does sound a lot better than what's published. Oh well.
All right. So
Yeah,
have we,
I totally agree.
yeah, cool. So have we covered everything we want about that story?
I just wanted to say, you did mention that you added in a bunch of sound effects, and you weren't kidding when you said there was everything you needed, because there's the bit where she's just opening and closing the trash can lid just to make her house a little less quiet, and you included those noises too, and I was like really impressed listening through the reading and going, oh wow,
It was a very
you've got
appropriate
all.
story to have a lot of sound effects in because of how she was complaining about the quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the last thing I'll say about it is there's the mention of the different teas that Izzy drinks. She mentions chamomile. No, that's before bed.
Yeah.
That's kind of like an Easter egg for me. I drink chamomile tea before bed, so it'll pop up in my fix randomly if characters are like having a tea party or they're talking about drinks. Somebody will mention chamomile tea,
Ah,
and
yeah, cool.
it's kind of become my brand.
All right.
Yeah, that's about
so-
it for this one.
Cool. All right. So when I was listening to these, I accidentally did it in the wrong order, and I listened to Sweetie Band first, and then I was reminded that Assuming Control is actually the one that comes first. So this is two fics that are kind of prequel and sequel to each other, right?
Yeah, there was not a direct path between them, but they're riffing on similar concepts.
Yeah. So we'll start with
we-
Assuming Control, because I feel like
It's a brand new scheme. I'm assuming control
with the plot, that's when the Sweetie Bot first appears, and then Sweetie Bot is the main focus of the next fic. So yeah, we'll start with assuming control. Yeah, would you like to give us your synopsis of that?
Yeah. Insert musical transition here if need be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for assuming control, this is an old one for me. Like for me is the operative word. This was like mid 2020, so like less than a year after I started like publishing and putting stuff out there. I
Yeah,
know some of us here have been
I
active since
actually,
like 2011.
yeah, I actually picked this fic because I was like, oh, I'm gonna do one of my, you know, 6 hours of Sweetie Belle stories to sleep to compilation soon. So I did a bunch of Sweetie Belle fics in a row to, have more content to add to that. So yeah, I did the assuming control and then the Sweetie Band as part of getting my number of Belle or bot fanfics increased. And yeah, so I just wanted to mention that. Go
All right,
on.
Now,
that's how you
on
picked it
the
up.
on the subject of Sweetie Bot, what was your introduction to Friendship is Witchcraft, if you remember?
Yeah. Let me tighten my hipster sweater here. Back in the days when there was the debate between whether Friendship is Witchcraft or Mentally Advanced series was the superior abridged series,
Mentally
I
advanced
actually,
series.
yeah. What was that?
Mentally advanced series.
My man. Yeah,
Very
I really like Mentally Advanced series. I go to sleep angry knowing that I will never write dialogue as good as Greg Hoffman does. But in the debates between them, even I had to yield that Sweetie Bot was a lot more funny than Thrakkerzod was. So that just kind of stuck with me. Is like, yeah, I do prefer Mentally Advanced series, but if you're gonna have your like riff on Sweetie Belle, do you want her to be like possessed by a demon and like act nothing like she should and nobody notices? Or do you want her to just be a robot who acts nothing like she should and nobody notices? The robot one is a lot funnier because it's such a bad fit for the pastoral world of Equestria. Plus, I've always really liked robot characters. I like Tron. I like the Iron Giant. I mentioned Bionicles earlier. So yeah, the Sweetie Bot's always just been a fun character to riff on.
All right, and now for the tangent off the tangent. Speaking of Bionicles, you are aware of the Spitfire Bionicle connection, yes?
No, I'm not.
Oh, yes. So the fanon of Spitfire from My Little Pony is that she's a big fan of Bionicles.
How?
All right. No, I'm not. We do not have the time to explain this here and now. But getting back to the topic at
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah, maybe we'll save it for the was it like the headcanon bit at the end of the each episode?
Is that a thing?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
did that in
there's
the
going to
first
be
episode.
Leviathan Eclipse segment, and then
All
Shark
right.
segment. I'll be doing them in dramatic voices to let them know they're starting. Um, yeah. Did you finish doing your synopsis of Assuming Control?
Oh,
I think we got
no, but
sidetracked.
yeah. There's not much to this one either. Many people rightfully point out this is more like chapter one of a story than a full one. It's kind of a silly story where Sweetie Belle is really excited because she finally got the thing in the mail she ordered, and it's a little robot, and she turns it on and goes, "Wait, oh, this is just like a remote controlled toy. It's not a real person." And this is something that like can be brought up when we talk about like a mare possessed, but I do feel bad when I mislead people who click on my stories expecting, oh, we're gonna get Sweetie Belle and Sweetie Bot, and then no, not really.
I mean,
And the
what
whole
I
point is
kind of assumed is that maybe this bot that Sweetie got in the mail eventually became her, like imprinted fully, and that's how the next
yeah,
story happens.
that is the unwritten bridge between assuming control and Sweetie Ban.
Yeah.
I am glad that you said that you feel bad because I was going to scold you about the rug pull.
Yep. No, I fully mea culpa on that one.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed it because I thought it was like, yeah, it subverted my expectations, and it made it quite an original story that I don't think, that had a concept in it that I don't think is explored very much about, yeah, how, yeah, Sweetie Belle ended up thinking of all these ways that she could use the robot to cheat at school and, you know, pretend to attend school while being at home doing other stuff. I thought those were some pretty clever ideas of what she could do with the toy that she bought.
Well, I'm glad you think so because those are kind of my only ideas. And after she brings them up in this fic, I was like, well, shoot, I don't know what I'm gonna have her do with it if I like expand this story. So my idea was like, this was kind of a riff on the those old cartoon plots where like a character gets a ventriloquist dummy, and that dummy like kind of becomes their sock puppet for their more unrestrained impulses and personality traits, and then it kind of almost becomes a split personality, and then by the end of the story they have to get rid of the dummy because it was like a bad thing that was an outlet for all their mischief making. That was kind of what I was going for here. It never quite happens, obviously. It just stays more or less a ventriloquist dummy. But uh, we see when we get to Sweetie Band what eventually becomes of the bot after it gains sentience.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is the idea to use Silver Spoon as kind of the stick in the mud bystander, saying like this doesn't seem very ethical, or where'd you get this thing again? I don't know what the general opinion is on Silver Spoon because she doesn't have a really strong personality in canon, but I find her as a useful just yeah, I need like another Philly character to bounce off of, like Sweetie Belle or Cozy Glow or someone. Yeah, I'll use Silver Spoon because divorced from Diamond Tiara, she can be kind of whatever you want. Anybody have strong opinions on Silver Spoon?
Well,
I've read
there's
quite a few
some.
fan fictions with her, and
I,
it
I,
can
I have read a
it
fan
can go very
fiction
wildly.
that had to be very involved. However, that isn't something that could be talked about on YouTube. So,
I might have read the same fan fiction.
Oh,
uh,
okay. So if a character's got a lot of blanks in their personality, people fill it with grimdark stuff.
yeah, you could say
Sometimes.
that.
Yep.
Saucy
People definitely feel it.
euphemisms. But yeah, for this one, it's more of the premise of a story is Sweetie Belle gets she refers to it as a Skype toy, and just the word Skype being in my vernacular at the time tells you how old this story is.
Oh yeah, man. Skype feels like it was so long ago. But yeah, it was definitely the main. Yeah, it was. Discord killed Skype is basically what happened.
I thought
Because
Zoom killed
I'll
Skype.
tell you why. Like, I was using Skype, and then all of a sudden, it started having this problem where it would like freeze for 5 seconds at a time while I'm trying to type, and I'd have to wait for it to stop freezing. And apparently, it was because of the ads that they had in it. Banner ads would pop up, and it would literally pause you from typing. And that was the point where I was just like, nah, screw Skype. I'm going somewhere else. And I think Discord came out right about that time, as a response to how crappy Skype was getting. So that shows you what happens if you go too hard with the monetization and the advertising on something. You can destroy your whole platform.
Was this before or after the you getting burned by the allegedly licensed sound effects and music?
Oh, this
You
was
just
long before I hadn't started my. Yeah, I was
okay.
doing like an audio book every 3 months, or more, before I started branding it Mystery Pony Fiction. So I consider the current Mystery Pony Fiction from the start of 2021 on. And before that, I was doing it very casually, just a reading now and then, and often not readings that you could share on YouTube back in the day. So yeah, technically I've been doing audiobooks since Rainbow Factory. That was my very first reading, and I was also the first one to read it. But Equestria Daily was more interested in unscripted, like, live readings. They weren't interested in my edited one. So unfortunately, I didn't get the credit of, being the first Rainbow Factory reading on Equestria Daily, unfortunately. Anyway, that was
Yeah.
just... But
No, yeah, I was gonna say you're still an old guard. I joined like in 2019, so
yeah.
like
I'm close to, like, I didn't originate from 4chan. In fact, I hate 4chan because they actually tried to ruin my life at one point. I was one of the autistic people that they decided to attack and bully and harass back in 2011. And fortunately, I survived it. But yeah, I definitely think low of 4chan ever since. Yeah.
channel lore for anyone who listens to the podcasts. Take note.
Okay. The one thing I wanted to mention. How do you think I did with like I've kind of feel like I've gotten a good sense of changing my voice for each of the main six, and I quite enjoy portraying Sweetie Belle. Like, I kind of put on like a childish voice, and I wonder if you think I do that pretty well, and did that pretty
Yeah.
well in the fix where I pretend to be Sweetie Belle, and I kind of put a bit of a childish edge on my voice, and increase the pitch a bit.
No, yeah, it works. The thing with my fix is Sweetie's kind of a stinker whenever I depict her. She's always getting into trouble or scheming, a little conniving, kind of like Rarity. And that's kind of different from Canon, where she's mostly nice, has some anger issues, but that's it. And you're able to like imbue her line delivery with a little bit of that sassiness that really works for the type of depiction I go for. Like, I've had some readings from other from some other YouTubers. Like one guy, I won't name him because he bailed on the fandom to become a VTuber. What a traitor!
Wow.
But he would do voices, but it was mostly like kind of not an obligatory thing, but a stock thing. Didn't have like musical transitions or sound effects. Like you put the kind of robot filter whenever Sweetie Bot talks, which is a lot in the upcoming story here. So
Yeah, I intend to talk
I
about how I do that once we start the next story.
yeah yeah I am quite impressed with the with the effort and the craftsmanship on display for these readings compared to some of the others I've seen.
Oh yeah, like I remember when I used to be listening to readings that didn't even edit their flubs, their live mistakes, and that was
We
kind
do it
of the...
live.
Yeah. I think I was, the main channel that kind of set that as a precedent to, yeah, be heavily edited. Even when I had no sound effects or music, I was editing out my mistakes.
Yeah,
And a lot of other
integrity
readers weren't.
matters.
Yeah. All right, so if we're done with that, I think we'll go on to Sweetie Ban.
All right. Let Leviathan and Shakespearicles like comment on both of them together, more or less.
Yeah, did we not? I mean, I think unless you guys want to say anything else about Assuming Control, Leviathan Eclipse and Shakespearicles.
Assuming Control was definitely an original take on the SweetieBot premise, because with SweetieBot being an autonomous entity is usually the angle where she's a stand-in for Sweetie Belle in the show. But having her being able to be remotely controlled just by will alone is something that I've never seen before. So kudos to doing that.
I actually have seen this before, specifically in one of my favorite fics, A Witch in Broad Daylight. Although in that story, there is like an independent Sweetie Bot who goes by Saccharin, but like Sweetie Belle is also more like a cyborg. She has a brain and a spinal cord, but otherwise she has a robot body. But both her and Saccharin can independently control other non-sentient sweetie bots that Rarity made. Yeah,
Okay, like kind of a hive mind thing almost.
kind of, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
that's,
her being able to just hop in and out of being able to control Sweetie Bot versus her own body, as opposed to like I think what you're describing is more like kind of like Ghost in a Shell.
yeah, basically.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
still
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, like I said, it was ventriloquist dummy was kind of the concept I was going with.
Cool. All right. Now, we're at 45 minutes now. I'm a bit surprised we're at that time already after only 2 stories. So I think we should move on to Sweetie Ban.
Gets in line, sweetie bot fan, but I'm rising high. No more tears in this artificial eye. I'm not just a tool, not just a machine. I'm finding my way in this world unseen. Sweetie bot fan, but I thought my soul will show them all that I truly belong.
Now, the robot voice. I was pretty surprised. Like, often what I'll do is I'll have an idea and I'll go onto YouTube to view a little tutorial about how to do a sound effect that I want. And I was very surprised by how you make a robot voice. It's actually extremely simple. And once I learned how to do it, it's extremely easy to keep doing. I don't even have to set up any like what do you call them? Templates. What you do is you get your sound clip of your character talking, and then you put the effect on it of pitch change down by -3, so that makes it lower, I think. And then you do paste another copy of it on top of it, so you've got the voice clip happening 3 times at the same time, on top of each other. So you have a lower version, normal version, and high version, and you let them play together, and it sounds like a robot. Just from pitch change up and pitch change down, and normal pitch at the same time. So,
Huh. So that's how the robotic sausage is made, huh?
yep,
That's
it's
really cool, actually.
yeah, it's not how I expected it would be done. I was like, oh, huh, that's how it's done. You just do that, and I was like, oh. So, yeah, and I've ended up needing to use that a lot whenever I've done quite a lot of Sweetie Bot related fics, and then I use it again in your Applejack robot fic that we're probably going to talk about in a future show. So, yeah, just thought I would tell you how that sausage was made, and we'll get on with, Sweetie Ban and Assuming Control. I'm not sure if you would have noticed, but I actually had no front teeth when I was reading these. I literally had my front teeth fall out from drinking too much Coca-Cola and sugary drinks. So I think for a while I took like a break from my channel for 3 or 4 months because I didn't want to talk. I felt like my talking was terrible. But eventually, I was going to the dentist and trying to get dentures made, and it took so long that I eventually had to give up on waiting. And I was making a lot of Suno-generated music as a filler for while I wasn't doing audiobooks. And I guess these 2, Sweetie Ban and Assuming Control, happened to be ones that I did while I didn't have front teeth. So I noticed a lot of lisping, and I definitely noticed the difference once I'm back to having my dentures in right now that allow me to talk more normally again.
Okay, yeah, I did notice like some verbal oddities. I figured you just had a retainer in or something. Like I had braces, I wore a retainer for a few years. I get it.
Yeah.
It didn't harsh my appreciation or of getting my stories read, of course. So
Yeah.
no need to apologize.
Yeah. So, there was a period of some stories where, I sound quite different. So give us the synopsis of Sweetie Ban.
Okay, so this one, as with a lot of my stories, was inspired by me cruising Derpy Boru and seeing something that I thought, oh, that'd be funny to expand on.
I'm not a
Um,
robot.
yeah, it's a Sweetie Bot like doing the captcha, and she has to like click the "I'm not a robot." And when I saw it, I saw she's like really sweating it, and the joke is, oh, robots like physiologically can't click it. But I had this funny idea where it's like she knows that she can pass it, but doesn't know if it's like morally right to lie about it. So I thought, yeah, let's expand on this and make the just fully integrated, just robot that everyone treats as a citizen, just naturally have problems in equestrian society. And the easiest way to do that was to go, well, maybe there's like a ban on AI assisted homework, and by a technicality, she gets fired from the tutoring lounge.
Yeah, I think the
And
excuse that they gave her was that all electronics are going down. I'm not sure if that was just to make her feel better or if that was legitimately what was really happening. We see it from her perspective, so we might not necessarily be sure. Well, what's
yeah, it's well, I established in the first fic that she's a flim flam product. No surprises there. And yeah, and Sunburst, who I've seen a lot of fics that like kind of treat Sunburst as a dope kind of a punchline guy. So this one was me trying to portray him as more of a reasonable, beleaguered, like bureaucrat guy, where he's like, okay, I gotta do the electronic ban, but we have the one person employed who is a robot. I'll talk to her on my own. I imagine him just being like coffee deprived and really doesn't want to do this, but he's got to do it. And the idea was, okay, I'll put Sweetie Bot in the hot seat, and Sunburst has to tell her she's fired, and that'll be the opening scene. I'll see how enjoyable I can make this. And I think it came out all right. There's I really like the bit where he says, once the EMP goes off, you'll be no better than a doorstop. And she gets really excited, and he says, "You can't stay and be a doorstop." I,
I
I
love that joke.
yeah, it's because it kind of like gives you insight to robots really have different values than organic creatures. And she's like, "Yeah, I'll be a doorstop. I'll be conked out. I want to be helpful." Or and for this fic, the fact that it's a sequel to Assuming Control was kind of a surprise. So I was kind of coy about the fact that Sweetie Belle exists in this continuity. There's a few references in the first bit of it where Sweetie Bot mentions her three closest friends. So that's the other three Crusaders. Or when she's saying, "Woe is me, I'm out on the street," and Sunburst says, "Well, isn't your sister a millionaire?" And she says, "Rarity's not my sister." So I tried to like drop some hints disguised as jokes in there, but yeah,
I
when the
was
second half
actually
kicks off.
I actually didn't remember that much about the story, and I was re-surprised again when I re-listened to it that Sweetie Belle did turn up in the fic. I I don't know. I think I kind of thought that maybe Sweetie Bot had replaced Sweetie Belle in some way.
Well, we'll talk about Call of the Wire when we get to it if we're going that route.
Yeah.
Um,
It's funny because when I was reading this and they were talking about the school was talking about like how they were going to have Sweetie Bot like temporarily, banned from the school. It made me think of that scene from Star Wars, the original Star Wars from 1977, where Luke and Obi-Wan go into the cantina and they're like, "Hey, we don't want their kind here," and they're talking about the robots. And I'm thinking, like, what kind of establishment is racist against robots? But now here we are in the current year. We've got AI, and I'm saying clanker with the hard R. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
could totally see that happening.
Oh yeah, especially
they,
now.
they took their jobs.
And I was thinking that this story could spark a bit of a discussion about like AI, chat GPT in schools, being used to cheat, and I think some schools are even embracing it in recent times as part of the education program to actually AI generate lessons, and it's becoming a bit of a mess, in my opinion. I didn't like the school system that I grew up in because, as a autistic person, probably, I didn't really jive with the way that they taught me. And I was like learning a lot more and a lot more enthusiastically after I left school. And I would like watch history documentaries and listen to podcasts about history and all kinds of stuff, even though I only got a D in history when I did it in high school. And same for biology. I got like a B in biology, but then after school, I was like literally reading books about evolutionary biology and learning all kinds of stuff about science. And school just didn't give me that hunger for knowledge. They kind of made me, not want to learn. But then when I was able to come up with my own my own way of learning that I enjoyed, I I probably would have done a lot better at school if I was teaching myself in that way when I was there. Because I don't think the way school is run when I was growing up, it's probably gotten even worse now, but they don't cater for different types of intelligence. Like, I'm terrible at math. I know I'm terrible at math. Trying to think of numbers makes my brain shut off. And so I'm very stupid when it comes to that. But I was a bit of a prodigy as a English reader. Obviously, that's pretty irrelevant now because I'm only as good as the average adult at reading now. But I was a very early starter when it came to like reading at like 3 years old. I was like able to read better than anyone else and stuff like that. And I just don't think school caters to different types of intelligence. They just want you to memorize and repeat. And that's all school ends up being about. Yeah, sorry for
Yeah,
going
well,
on a tangent there. Yeah.
no, of course. I mean, it is a story that talks about a tutor, robots. That specifically the core of the conflict is students
Were
using.
people talking much about AI in schools at that time when you wrote it? Was it much of a
Um,
issue?
well, people were certainly talking about it in the comments sections of the of the fic. Um, I admit that I was out of school. I graduated college in 2018, so I was not in school when AI was really taking hold. I mean, you mentioned like literacy. I can't confirm this, but I've heard that like literacy is going down because people are saying things like, "Oh, Chat GPT or Grok, summarize this story for me." So like you sell yourself short for you're saying, "Oh, I'm literate, but I don't know how applicable that is." If to poach a metaphor from Kurt Vonnegut, I'd say having average literacy nowadays is being a one-eyed man in the kingdom of the blind. You don't underestimate inherent skills that aren't exactly being ingrained the way they used to,
I'm
allegedly.
fo- I'm fond of saying that there's too many people who are letting their phones be smart for them.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the old joke about Grok, summarize this tweet for me, and the
Oh
person who
god.
wrote the tweet says, "Are you so dense that you can't even read what I wrote?" And the
And
person replies, "Grok, why is this lady mad at me?"
then you get and then you have people summarizing the summary too.
Yeah, it's
Just because
I don't
it's
know how
funny.
much of it's facetious, but you know the whole problem, the hazards of irony poisoning. You put on a jokey persona for too long, it starts to affect your sincerity.
Well,
It's
hold on a
tough.
second, okay? You watch videos of YouTube videos of people reacting to YouTube videos. I'll decide when it gets too meta, okay?
Yeah, be ironic responsibly. It's just like any hobby. I don't really have a strong opinion on AI in schools. I do think thinking for yourself is probably a good idea. I know Fimfiction, put a ban on AI generated stories. That's kind of hard to enforce, but I personally don't like using any language models to assist my stories. It's mostly it's just a good old fashioned. I wrote like three quarters of this story, then ran out of steam, and I let it sit for a couple months, and felt guilty about it. The true way that all writers must deal with their work.
Well, let's bring this tangent to its logical conclusion. I think the problem with the modern education system is that it has not kept up with technology. Yes, there's computers in the classroom, and we have smart boards and all this other stuff. We have all the toys of technology. But what the education system needs to understand is that everyone everywhere has all the facts at their fingertips. And what the education system needs to do with that, being the system, is to teach people how to learn, how to teach themselves. Teachers need to teach kids how to learn, not just how to memorize facts and know who killed who and what country when. You can memorize facts to pass the test just long enough to then obliterate that information from your memory. The problem was that the education system of the past was just, these were the people who had all the knowledge. They had the books from the library when books were a limited resource and education was only available to the privileged. And you'd go to public schools to get a exposure to that and pass the test to indicate that you memorized it, so that way you could take it home back to your village. Where now, what we really need to be focusing on is critical thinking and being able to parse out whether or not, this information that you're getting, is this biased? Is it coming from a reliable source? These are the critical skills that people are lacking now. And that's the disconnect between the education system that they're using, that was made 200 years ago, versus the reality that we live in now, where yes, you can use your phone to look up everything, but that doesn't mean you should believe everything that your phone tells you.
Yeah, knowledge is only as good as what you can apply it to do. Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we've just passed the hour point of the podcast. So, is there anything else we want to say about that story before we move on to the next one?
Yeah, I think you guys just covered it.
All right, cool. So, the reading that I just did recently, as a bonus to Casket Base for appearing on this podcast, thank you for that. I went and read Like a Mare Possessed.
Sister bewitched, is she trapped in some spell, or is this just me spinning a mystery too well? The shadows are creepy, but her sound's a mess. She sure looks like a mare possessed.
What can you tell me about the synopsis of that?
Oh, well, remember how earlier I apologized for the egregious rug pull? I'm going to do it again.
Rug pull one, yeah.
Yes, I am very sorry. I humbly prostrate for this one. This was a rug pull. It's one of the ones I feel most guilty about.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it made it more interesting than if it actually was a, scary Halloween story.
Yeah,
'Cause
well,
that's what it seemed to be going for at first, and then it becomes,
yeah, because the joke of it is, Zip and Hitch are really bored at the station, and they're both ponies that kind of need something to do, otherwise they'll contrive something to do. So for this one, it was Zip gets it in her head that Pip has been, let's say, compromised. The obvious conclusion is Pip has been possessed by a ghost because she's acting like Rarity. And Zip goes to investigate, and it's framed very much like a haunted house. The salon is all dark. There's strange music coming from the phonograph, which is another joke that I'm pretty proud of when Zip finally confronts Pip at the end. Is like, so why do you have creepy static coming from the phonograph? And Pip says, oh, is the phonograph broken? I thought old timey music just sounded like that.
Yeah, I actually had to go. I actually put just static as a sound effect for that, and then when I realized that joke, when I got past that joke, I was like, oh no, I know what sound effect I need for this instead, and I just found staticky phonograph music instead of just static, because that's what I thought it was at first. So keep going.
Yeah, so the whole point is it's the character interaction. Zip is being paranoid and convinced that Pip's possessed by a ghost, and Pip is really, really flippant and just of a different generation. I specifically had Hitch is looking up baby names and boring the snot out of Zip, and then Pip is like doing TikTok challenges, and Zip is just caught in the middle because she can't relate to either of them. So like for a joke fic, I guess there's a little bit of generational commentary there, but mostly it's herp-de-derp, scare that Pip is possessed. No, she's just doing a bit for her followers. And somebody in the comments said they were hoping for a Thriller ending. You guys ever seen the Thriller music video?
Yeah. I think,
Thriller.
Yeah. So,
I don't think-
so you know how it ends then. Yeah, so the end of the Thriller video is after MJ and his girl are walking out. He turns back to the camera and his eyes light up yellow, and we hear the iconic laughter. And it turns out he was evil after all.
I mean,
somebody-
I would say spoiler alert, but the video is 40 years old.
Yeah, and it's iconic. It's like spoiling the ending of. Well, actually, I pretend I said something that's very well known, but I don't want to risk that in case people actually don't know the movie. The point is,
All right, we'll edit this part out and be like, it's like spoiling that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father.
yeah, that's a good example.
Bro, spoilers!
So anyway, someone in the comments said, "Oh, I was expecting a Thriller ending," and I guess I would ask you guys: do you think I should have gone with that, where after the rug pull that Pip wasn't possessed by a ghost, we reveal she actually was, as kind of a closing spooky flourish?
Well,
What do you guys
I'll
think?
just say that I enjoyed it. I liked the rug pull. I liked that it subverted my expectations. Yeah, because otherwise it would have been a bit more too ordinary and like most other stories. So you did a good. You made it unique, is what I feel like.
All right. Well, if I have the blessing from the guy who read it, then I appreciate it, because, like I said, this is one of the rug pulls I feel the most guilty about.
Oh,
I am
no,
also
you
the
shouldn't
guy
be.
who read it.
You
I
read it.
personally liked it.
I don't know, man. Anytime you have one of those narratives where it ends with, "Oh, Toto, it was just a dream,"
Well,
it just
a
kind of
dream
takes
is
all
too
the
cliche.
right. But it's like if the whole premise is that she's being possessed by a spirit of the past, if that's the short description of the story, if that's the expectation going in, if that's the theme and the set, and like that's everything right up until the end where she's just like, "Oh, tell me you can hear me," and she's just like, "Nah, that was just a prank, bro." It's like, as good of a ride as it was, when you get to the end, you just find out, oh yeah, no, it was all not real. JK.
Yeah, and I should say that I find Pip a lot of fun to write, because you can make her doing pretty much whatever for views. Like one of my other fics, I have her
Sorry, I like that
Oh.
joke you had in it where you said if Pip was sleeping, she would have been streaming it. I thought that was
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
funny.
because there are people that do that
Yeah.
allegedly. Yeah, so Pip I find her a fun character to write. Like, Izzy's a real sweetie. I think we've gone over that today, but I get a lot more mileage out of Pip. She was my first character is secretly a changeling story. I think everybody has at least one of those. And yeah, Pip's grubby for attention because she literally needs it to survive. There's a lot of blood to be drawn from that stone with her. And
Yeah.
I don't
And-
think
and, like,
this story was the best showcase of that, but at least it's proof of concept.
Yeah, and as Mystery said, like she is fun to read, and she was well written, as you wrote her, and it was fun to enjoy.
And so was
but
it.
like I would compare it to like a really nice cake with a turd on it, and it's like, okay, yes, you can just cut off that section and throw that part away, and you have the rest of this really nice cake. But like, I'm not gonna want to eat that cake knowing that there was a turd on it. Maybe the comparison's a little crude, but it's like,
Oh, yeah.
yes, it's just kind of it takes all the air out of this balloon of this really good writing to come to the end and be like, oh yeah, okay, no, it wasn't really for anything.
Yeah, it's false advertising in the bluntest way. And if someone clicks on my story, I want to deliver what they were hoping for. And in this one, I didn't do that. So yeah, as stated, I do feel bad about it, but it's a slightly older one. I've published some more. I hope my integrity is intact.
Yeah, and
I
to be
guess I'm
clear,
the
I
odd
don't
one
want.
out.
I don't want to discourage you for wanting to have twists in your stories. Like, there's really good ways of doing it. And I just kind of felt like this particular execution just felt lazy.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's I'm glad we at least got some enjoyment talking about it. It's
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't agree. I enjoyed the story, but I know that Shakes is someone who is a judge, like a professional judge of fiction stories. So I guess, he's the expert here. So anyway,
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, you have to understand the lowest effort thing that I'm going to do would be to just leave an upvote and then walk away. The reason why I'm critiquing it, the reason why I'm giving you this advice and this sort of constructive feedback is because I care about it, because I can see that there's talent that went into this, talent and passion. And it's like, okay, yes, what I would have done in this case would have been something different. And this would be my suggestion to you. Like, were you to do a story like this in the future, you could go in a different direction because I care about the future of your writing career.
yes, indeed. I'm thankful, world's strongest writer.
You're welcome.
all right, cool. So I'm going to take a quick bio break. You guys talk amongst yourselves for a few minutes. Don't say anything that I'll have to edit out, and I'll be back in a few minutes.
A bio
Right.
break. What are we in kindergarten? Just go say you gotta take a shit, man.
Well,
Yeah, he said not to say anything. You have to edit out.
I mean,
he
he
has
can.
to keep up the mystery.
No.
part of the
He
story.
can put in the Rick and Morty clip of Rick Sanchez going, "I'm gonna go take a shit."
Yeah, fair enough.
We did
Yeah.
not behave ourselves for more than 5 seconds after he left.
Oh no, I'm a professional shit poster.
I guess I'm the weird one because like I actually enjoy, um, like extreme subversion of expectations. Like, um,
Don't get me wrong. I love a good twist. I love subversion, and I like the subversion of expectations. And there's really good ways of doing it, and there's less good ways of doing it. And I'm just saying that there is a difference. And this particular one is not the best example. I've seen ones where like all right. Let me give you an example. Okay,
Sure.
if you're writing a multi-chapter story, let's say more than 3 chapters, all right, and you have this big twist for the big finale, the big reveal at the end. If you get to chapter 4 and you have people in the comments saying, "Oh, I bet she's not really a ghost," or "I bet she's not really possessed," right? Because you have left breadcrumbs, like if you leave these little clues that make it obvious, not necessarily that makes it obvious, but if you leave these little breadcrumbs where once someone gets the reveal and they go back and they read that story a second time, all of that is congruent, like it all makes sense, it fits together, like, oh, now once you get the reveal, it seems obvious, like, oh, of course, that's a good twist, that's a good reveal. But like if it's just like a complete,
Yeah, Deus Ex
it
Machina.
it just comes out of left field, just like, oh no, JK, it was all a dream. It's just like, then it just makes everything that happened before that feel empty.
All right,
If that,
so
Man.
I'm back. I wrote down the time code so that I can come back and check that you guys didn't do lots of swears and stuff while I was gone. When I do the
oh
editing.
yeah, no, Levy said the N word with the hard R.
Oh no. Um.
Oh, Tartarus, no.
Excuse
What
you.
now?
Anyway.
Yep.
So we've got about 3 segments left, I think. Yeah. I'm gonna ask you, Casket Base. Who is best pony? What is best episode?
Ooh. Okay. Well, I mentioned that Screwball is always gonna have a place in my heart as the best background pony because she was my portal into the fandom.
Sorry, I just need to stop you there for a second. I've got to do this
Yeah.
properly. There we go. That'll be the intro.
All right. best pony is probably Trixie. I think she is a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to write, a lot of fun to read about. She's got a surprisingly tragic backstory, having a deadbeat dad. She's a buffoon, so if she wins, it's usually through no skill of her own. If she loses, she deserves it. I just find Trixie a really, really well-rounded character. You can do pretty much anything you want with her. Make her a villain, make her an anti-hero, make her a joke, give her some pathos.
Have you written many Trixie fics?
There's one that I was pretty proud of that didn't get a lot of traction. It was called try.exe. Surprise, surprise, another robot fic.
Oh, okay.
Where Pip wants advice. Pip's social media presence is flagging. She's worried she's out of touch. So she steals a book from Sunny's library and uploads all of its data into her chatbot app and basically resurrects Trixie inside of her phone. And I'm just going to say that Trixie escapes at some point, and much shenanigans ensue, and Pip pays for her hubris. And I was really proud of that one. I think that Pip and Trixie made a really fun pair, but I can totally understand why people didn't want to read it, because that was like the middle of last year when AI was just oversaturated. People were sick of it, but try.exe was a story that I thought was a lot of fun, and I think it's one of my best depictions of Trixie, because she's just a voice inside a cell phone, and you can tell she hates it. And when she eventually does get out, then Trixie's back in Gen 5, baby.
Well, since we're in the After Hours segment, as a fellow Trixie fan, I just want to do a little bit of a lore drop. The entire basis for the Shakespearicles caricature was based on Trixie, because people who are uncompromising are easy to admire. And so this whole persona of just like, I am the greatest, and I'm the greatest because I say so, which was very much on brand for Trixie, became my whole character's persona. And the best part about it, too, was that Trixie was set up to be overly arrogant, to give people a target to go after. And I wanted to be that heel character of, despite being this like person who thinks that they're the greatest, and throwing it into everybody's face, and then it would make everyone else be like, what? Oh, I can write a better story than him, right? And that would encourage other people to write the best that they could to try to be better than me, which was my original objective. And it really still is my objective. I will go to someone and I will rip apart their story and say, hey, you could have done this so much better. And then, regardless of how they receive that, they can either take that information and do better or give up. But the people who do better, they always come back and say, you know what? It was because you goaded me into it. You peer pressured me and bullied me into being the best version of myself that I could be. And that's always been my goal.
I'm sure you bully a lot of people into entering contests too.
Yeah. So how come you didn't join mine, huh?
Oh, you know I don't write anymore. I just don't find it fun, and I know I'm bad at it, so I read instead.
Well, you found your niche.
Yeah, so best episode.
Oh, I personally really, really liked To Change a Changeling, the one where Pharynx, the one holdout from the Changeling Hive who hasn't gone all harmonized, is still kind of in battle mode, and he's still, they complain during arts and crafts he sharpens spears, and he's always on patrol. I know My Little Pony is like a G-rated show, but the whole thing's like a metaphor for a veteran who really can't get over the fact that the war's over.
Oh, yeah.
And I kind of like how at the end of the story, they give him a little bit of credence where, yeah, he eventually does harmonize and join the other changelings, but they also show up to bail him out when he's fighting the monster. And so his accusations of, you're a bunch of ninnies who've, forgotten your spines, or lack of your exoskeletons, I guess, because they're bugs. But it shows that he was able to soften up and the rest of them were able to toughen up a bit. And that gave him the sort of mental, that got rid of his mental block, where he said, "Okay, I can become a harmonized changeling. I can set down my guns, as it were." And also Trixie's in there, with Starlight, and they're trying to figure out how to resolve the situation. And Starlight's trying to figure out, and Trixie says, "I have a great idea. Let's bail, because I don't like this guy." Like that's just prime Trixie right there, where she has no tact whatsoever. I really like the episode for the metaphor of it, for the way it wraps up. It kind of gives credence to this one IDW comic where Swiftfoot is this like antagonist who's trying to sow dissent between the Student Six, and she says to Ocellus, "Have you been domesticated or what?" And Ocellus is really off guard because she can't exactly say no. So I find the changelings like really interesting post villainy arc, because they're still trying to figure out where their place is in the world. So I really like to change a changeling because it kind of gave us center stage for that.
Eclipse, what do you think about that episode?
I honestly love the episode because, like,
My
the
man.
introduction of Pharynx was just, well, it's added another sibling to the show, and I freaking love like all editions of siblings and all like episodes that focus around sibling dynamics and just learning about their specific sibling dynamic. It was honestly just beautiful, and I love the fact that they gave Thorax a tsundere brother.
Yeah,
See-
speaking of romantic terms, I'm not much into shipping, but I did see a picture of Pharynx and Tempest, and that clicked for me. I definitely ship those two.
I could see it.
Man, I'd have to chew on that one for a minute. I was more into that episode because of Stixie. And you know what? Ever since from the moment Trixie was reintroduced in Amending Friendships, or no Second Prances, that's what it was. No Second Prances, where Trixie comes back. Dude, as soon as she came back at all, regardless of the context, I did a goddamn backflip. But then when like they hit it up, when she hit it off with Starlight, having that like, oh, we're both former quote unquote villains, having our antagonist arcs and having that relationship. I think that like the Stixie ship is one of my favorite ships in the show because it forces Starlight to be like quote unquote the responsible one. And she has that like emotional leash on Trixie where she can kind of like rein her into when she's just going into pure chaos mode. And it's just, I mean, just the fact that they're lesbians at that point is just a bonus. But like their entire relationship dynamic is one of the most like like delightful ones to enter to just experience its growth in the show, all the way up to Road to Friendship. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I can't
season-
remember exactly what season it was, but the two of them basically saved the day during the Changeling invasion. It was Starlight and Trixie.
Yes, To Where and Back Again, which was the season 8 finale, I believe.
Yeah, I was going to say 7 or 8.
Season 7 finale, because season 8 premiere was Celestial Advice.
Yeah, it's Starlight's the one who makes the big appeal, and Trixie's the one who sets off a whole bunch of fireworks indoors. So it's a team effort. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Trixie nearly becomes a main character in the last couple seasons. Pretty much.
She kind of does. She definitely becomes a side character rather than just a one-off, because I remember like during like season 2, season 3, I remember the Aviators, which was one of the fandom musical artists. They made that song, Are We Ever Gonna See Trixie Again? And I'm telling you, dude, that song made me cry so fucking hard for like 2 or 3 years until Trixie came back. And I'm like, yes, we are gonna see her again. And now I listen to that song after the show's over. I'm like, no, we're not.
I was going to say, it feels like a victory lap now. No, it just has sadder context.
It hits harder because the show's over.
Yeah, this show was something special.
All right.
That's what we have fanfiction for.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Did you just want to give us a bit of, what your future plans are for your writing and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Any of your favorite fics that you'd like to recommend?
Okay, well, this is going way back. I'll start with the fic recommendations. One of the first fics I read and was just amazed by was Solitary Locust by the Paris Sprite. They're called No Damn Breaks now, but
I was kind of thinking more recommending your own
oh
fics.
my own fics. Oh shoot.
We could probably,
Okay.
depending on how long you guys want to go, we're just about at an hour and a half. We've got a few segments left, so.
Yeah. I was.
Yeah,
I'll mention Solitary
well,
Locust, knowing it was a metaphor for the author's struggles with heroin addiction and Twilight being turned into a changeling and struggling with that. Lot of emotional weight there. But for my stories, there is one story that I really, really wish more people read, and that is Stop Number 12, which was my Maud Pie character study. And it's just Maud riding a bus home, and there's 12 stops, and she interacts with, somebody every couple of stops. Mostly she's just very lonely. And then Vinyl Scratch walks on, and Maud remembers Vinyl Scratch from school. And the thing that she remembers is Vinyl Scratch never spoke, ever. And by the end of the story, we do hear Vinyl Scratch speak, and I think it's one of the best payoffs I've ever written. And it's a 3-chapter story, so it's not one of my regular bite-sized snippets, but I think I did Maud a lot of justice in that one. And I really like the reveal of why Vinyl Scratch doesn't talk much. And it's right on my Fimfiction page, dead in the middle. When you click on my homepage, I say, these are my 5 best fics, including the Maud one, dead in the center, right there. You should click on that one.
Okay, cool.
So if I would recommend anyone read anything by me, it is definitely Stop Number 12, the one that has Maud Pie in it.
Nice. All right. So if that's all for that segment. Now, which should we do first? Should we do Shakespearicles writing advice or Leviathan Eclipse's headcanon extravaganza?
I'd go with Shakes's segment first.
All right. Shakespearicles, legendary writing advice. Go on.
Okay.
I mean, you kind of already bled a bit of that segment when you were, advising Casket about his fic, but I figured this would be a segment for you to educate writers and give them, advice on how to write better.
All right, that's a good idea. I mean, I tend to give my advice pretty organically, like when prompted, and as the co-host, I would need to be prompted.
Oh, I
And it's
did.
not just like,
I did mention that I was going to do this segment in the Discord before you started.
all right. Right, but like I thought it'd be like, hey, what's your advice on this particular topic?
Okay.
Do you want to expand on your mention of foreshadowing and rug pulls that you were doing earlier?
Yeah. So the trick to doing a good rug pull twist is by leaving breadcrumbs and clues earlier in the story, so that way when the twist comes, people will go back and reread the story and see those clues and be like, "Oh, it's so obvious now." It's not obvious until they get to the twist, but once they get the twist, those crumbs are already there. It doesn't feel like a rug pull. It feels like something like, "Oh, I must have missed that earlier." And then the onus is on the reader, like, "Oh, I should have been paying attention to those details." Or if you have someone who has been paying attention to those details, like, "Hey, something feels off here. Something feels wrong. There's these things that don't match up." And then the big reveal makes all those lines connect, and then they're vindicated in their suspicions. And so either way, it's rewarding to both people, the people who didn't see the twist coming and the people who suspected that something was wrong. In both cases, you're making your audience happy, because if you make a twist come out of nowhere and there's nothing to indicate that that's coming, it just comes out of left field, it just is going to piss off your readers. And that's what you want to avoid, because a story will live and die by its ending. And so you want to make sure that you know how your story is going to end before you even start writing it. You want it that way if you get lost in the middle story, because your middle story can meander. You can have these little side quests and whatnot that your character experiences, however large or small the story is. As long as you have an ending in mind, you know how that scene is going to go. You have this compass that you can always aim toward. It's this vague direction that your character, like if you get lost, be like, all right, well, what happens next? As long as you know how the story ends, you head in that direction. And that's how you proceed the plot forward, through that direction and using conflict to drive the narrative. And by leaving those breadcrumbs to make it so that when you get there, everyone gets rewarded. The people who are surprised, the people who see it coming.
Yea, verily.
All right, nice. Have you got any other tips for us, Shakes?
Yeah, I've got like hours of seminar, but like I usually charge for that.
All right.
And we got more episodes, so we don't want to use all the good material.
Yeah. We'll save some for the next time we have this segment. And by the way, I've just got to quickly say, legendary to edit into Shake's writing advice for the whole title card. All right. Now we've got Leviathan Eclipses. Headcanon extravaganza. Okay, go.
All right, so I got a few that I could talk about. Nothing really having to do with robots or Sweetie Belle. But
I mean, it
let's
doesn't
see.
have to be completely topical. Just
Well, I could explain why Shining Armor is the worst pony.
you can do that if you want.
Ooh, how contentious. Let's hear this.
All right. So, some
I
people might
disagree.
argue. Oh, I know you do. So, some people might say that Mudbriar is the worst pony because he's like extremely annoying. No, Mudbriar is like close, but like he's always been annoying. He's like he was introduced as being annoying, and like you can basically extrapolate from his name, and just his general attitude that he's basically just always been a Sheldon pony. Other people might argue that Zephyr Breeze is the worst pony because he's honestly a creep. And again, he's close, but he's kind of shown to always have been like this creep who is obsessed with Rainbow Dash. No, Shining Armor is the worst pony because he could have been one of the best ponies. He was, at least according to Twilight's perspective, he was like this amazing big brother who is always there for her, and like just always just like the best big brother ever. Fast forward to the Canterlot wedding. Twilight finds out that he is getting married from a simple wedding invitation. Now, some might say that, oh, it's on Twilight to keep in touch with her big brother as well. Twilight has kind of an obsessive personality. When she gets, when she's shown to like get focused on something, she kind of just gets tunnel vision. And her assignment from the princess is definitely something that would qualify as an obsession of hers. So it's on Shining Armor, who should know that his little sister gets tunnel vision about these things, to keep in contact with her. He doesn't. And he basically just essentially just abandons her. And from that point, the only time that they interact is a time when, like, either Cadence drags him to Ponyville, or they have to, like, interact due to, like, some state function, or the time when they were all kidnapped by Chrysalis. But, like,
Objection.
yes.
Objection.
Sparkle 7.
Say what?
Sparkle 7.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
Anyways, Cadence does actually go out of her way to spend time with Twilight. She is a better sister to Twilight than Shining Armor is a brother to her. He just kind of takes advantage of her hospitality, and, like, she goes out of her way to make sure that, like, Shining Armor's happy. Twilight is, like, constantly on the ball. She knows, like, everything about how to, like, make her brother happy, but and is, like, also really into, like, keeping up that relationship. But Shining Armor just isn't. He ignores her. He focuses on, like, everything except her. And even, like, basically just dumps Flurry Heart on her, just randomly, no, like, forewarning. And of course, because Twilight is the best aunt ever, she takes it on. Yeah, he's the worst pony because he could have been the best. He could have been a great big brother, but instead he just abandoned and betrayed his sister, and that is not something I can ever forgive.
Yeah, we know you like your siblings.
Yeah. So this is why I say that Spike is Twilight's only brother.
All right, now
And
we
that
go
brings us to our headcanon. Spike is the true brother.
He is the true brother. It is in my opinion that he unironically could be the element of loyalty because he is always stuck by Twilight's side.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's
Congratulations, Spike. You're the new Rainbow Dash.
Exactly.
yeah. I'm sure everyone's heard the argument that Rainbow Dash should be the element of honesty and Applejack should be the element of loyalty. That's been one of my headcanons that I just thought I'd mention. See what you guys think of that.
Applejack does put up with a lot of everybody's crap, doesn't she?
And she does remain a loyal, hardworking sibling on the farm.
And I mean, Applejack does try to lie, but she's obviously bad at it, and no one believes her when she tries to lie.
Well, no, and also in her own words, she calls herself the loyalist of friends in Applebuck season.
Yep.
And I mean, you know, when you have a family, there's a lot of loyalty that comes with that, and it just seems to be on theme for Applejack to, yeah, be the most loyal of ponies. Whereas Rainbow Dash is quite selfish. You know, she'll she'll come through in the end, but just on the basis of Rainbow Dash's general personality, loyalty doesn't really fit her. You know,
Yeah, she's more blunt on
self-centered.
honesty.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. She's bluntly honest to a fault that can get her in trouble. That's the other reason that.
Rarity, it's not your fault. It kind of is.
Yeah, no dissenting opinion from me. I could buy into two of them having swapped elements.
All right. Well, after that, I think there's just the outro. Do you have any socials that you want to share, Casket Base, about where people can find you to have a chat or communicate with you, request stories, whatever?
Well, this is a side effect of me not growing up with the internet. I actually don't really have socials. I don't have Twitter. I don't have Facebook, any of that stuff. I do have my Fimfiction account though, and I am on there every like couple of days. So if you if you like DM me or you drop a comment on a fic, I will most likely see it. Uh, I'll probably just keep plugging away, keep browsing Derpy Boru, seeing pictures that inspire me, and making fics that accompany them. Coming down the pipe, I am toying with a big multi-chapter fic that expands on one that I kind of got called "Friendship is Lawful Good." It's an AU where Twilight's a guard. I guess you guys are the first time I've publicly announced that, but if you see that fic suddenly getting updates,
All right,
know that
breaking news.
this appearance on the podcast has really lit a fire under my flank, and I'm getting back into content creation.
All right.
Fuck yeah.
We're getting the gang back together.
Yeah, we're never going to let this fandom die. It's like that, that meme image of Homer at the nuclear power plant, and Burns says, "Don't forget you're here forever." That's kind of what the Brony fandom is. And then you put
The
a
party
bunch of
never
Fluttershy
ends.
pictures over the words, and what does it say after that? It says, "Do it
Do
for
it
her."
Do it for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me that's Screwball. I still have not depicted her in a way that I feel is justified for what she did for me, getting me into this fandom. But we'll see what happens with that Twilight Guard AU. She might show up in that. You never know.
All right. Well, so this has been, Mystery Pony Fiction Interviews. Be sure to check out Casket Base's stories that we've mentioned here. Give them a like and all that. I would really appreciate people becoming a member of my channel for $1.49. You'll get audiobooks that I do as soon as they are finished and uploaded, and then I don't set them to schedule for release until later. Members will get them instantly, whereas non-members will have to wait till their scheduled release time. And sometimes I can get like a whole month ahead and have a whole month of content on my channel set up for the future. I'm a bit behind on that right now, but yeah. And if you become a member of some higher tiers, that's when I will, read a story of your request. So consider doing that as well. Help support this channel. I do this channel at a loss. I'm finally going to get a $100 check from Google for the whole last year and a half. It took me a year and a half to earn $100 of ad revenue, and I spent $200 advertising this channel on YouTube. So, yeah, still a loss, but I enjoy
Hey,
doing
just
it.
keep going
That's
and
what's
you'll make some
important.
progress.
Yeah.
Become a subscriber and get a laminated Z-word pass.
All right. Now, I guess we could say goodbye, or if you guys are willing to stay for a couple more minutes, we could just have some banter. Yeah, if there's anything that you feel has been left unsaid.
I mean, all goes well, I should be back. So I don't want to tip my hand too much. I have plenty more opinions about Applejack. We brought her up earlier, but
Yeah,
I'm sure I could save those for when we talk about Call of the Wire.
cool.
Leviathan, actually, I don't know if this is from the pre-show. If we're going to spoil a little bit here, but you mentioned that you had been in the Church of Satan. Now, is that the temple of Satanism, the Temple of Satan? I want to be specific here because I know this isn't devil worship.
Yeah. No, I was a member of the Satanic Temple, which is different from the Church of Satan. The Church of
Right,
Satan is like...
And I know the difference. I want to make sure our audience understands because it's similar to the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, where it's meant to kind of force the hand of government, where they give religious preference, and you're like, hey, if you're going to give them a holiday, we have to get this holiday, or we're gonna wear a spaghetti bowl on our head in our license because because they get to wear a turban. You know, it's more about
It's
individual autonomy and personal freedoms, right?
Yeah, it started out as like basically a joke by one of the co-founders, Lucian Greaves, um, who really looks like he was born to be the face of of a satanic religion. Like he has he like one of his eyes is like scarred and he's blind in it. Um, he definitely looks like a Satanist.
He's got
Um,
the Odin aesthetic.
oh yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that like this wasn't like someplace where you're sacrificing goats and doing dark rituals and shit.
Oh hell no. We did do a few rituals, but they were mostly like just like written on the fly sort of things where um, like a bunch of us gathered and um, did some stuff for catharsis, like a destruction ritual where we took basically totems of um, things that we hate about ourselves and destroyed and burned them. Um, uh,
Yeah, it's like burning an old photograph of your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, sounds like
Um,
you're maintaining your goth cred.
yeah, kind of.
Well, like
Um,
I've always been an atheist, and I kind of saw this flying spaghetti monster thing as like a parody of religion, as a way that, us atheists will mock it. Um, but yeah, back in the day, I used to be like a full on activist atheist that made like videos on YouTube trying to educate people about what science really says and stuff like that. And yeah, we went along with a lot of the Pastafarian and Flying Spaghetti Monster stuff as a parody, to kind of try to shine a light on how if this sounds ridiculous, then so does the religion that you follow, sort of thing.
Yeah,
the thing
well,
is with the
mystery. Unfortunately for you, the evangelical from either extreme, whether you're religious or evangelically atheist, your both groups are equally annoying.
Yeah, well, I
yeah,
mean,
um,
yeah, I hear them say that, but
Yeah, I mean, I
the,
appreciate that you've kind of evolved as a person since then.
for the record, though, the Satanic Temple, at least for me, was a means of getting maintaining the community that I had as a Christian, but not having to like um, dumb down my personal ideals or beliefs or claim to believe something that I don't, but still get that sense of community. And a lot of members of the Satanic Temple are like ex-Christians or like ex-Mormons or whatever, um, if you want to differentiate.
yeah. And
Uh,
speaking to what Shake said earlier, I guess I've learned that trying to bully people out of their religion only makes them more like hold on to their religion more.
yeah, that's
Ridicule
something that
Yeah,
and criticism
At the
doesn't
very least,
necessarily
they're
help
yeah,
them
at the
at
very
all.
least they're
and
resistant to persuasion from you.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and but ultimately, once you get older, and I feel like I'm definitely the oldest person in this call. One of the things you're going to realize is that most people, especially older people now in the current year, they maintain whatever church they go to. It has nothing to do with their religion. It has everything to do with the community. Just like Leviathan was saying about going to that to have that same sort of like social connection. That's fundamentally the basis of any kind of organized religion. And honestly, like if you wanted to call being a brony a parallel to a religion, you're not even that far off because like we're all gathered together. All these people from different backgrounds, different professions, different orientations and whatnot. We all have this one common thing. We like, hey, we all like ponies. Let's have a convention. And all these people who would never otherwise meet getting together, and that's kind of like what you would make a religion out of. Just have all these people who have this one fundamental belief or common thing that they have in common to gather people together. Because humans are social animals; they want that, and I don't fault religions for existing at their fundamental level. I do have some issues with the institution of the churches, but that's dependent on how they run their quote unquote
Yeah.
business. But
It's largely
that's
a
a
social
complete
thing, just like D&D
yeah.
or
It's
other
right.
reasons
The
that
the,
people
the
do it.
conversation about the churches is a different conversation. But like that's why I wanted to like focus on saying like, hey, the Satanic Temple isn't about devil worship and dark stuff. It's about just like, hey, it's kind of a parody of how Christianity operates and how if you want to have the separation of church and state and the freedom of religion in the context of like the U.S. Constitution, for example, then you have to also respect this church for existing. And I think that that's really great that that exists and that they celebrate individuality and personal freedoms over forcing you to obey by some intangible rules.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I
I
usually
actually
try to
have.
avoid bringing up religion just because I get worried that it will start some sort of fight.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
we
I
seem
mean,
to be
this is
being
all in
civil
the
here.
post podcast, right?
It could be.
Yeah. Well, and I'm
If you
saying
prefer.
if we, I'm just saying if we want to play it safe and just talk amongst
Yeah, if you
ourselves,
want to have this
just
be like, if you want to have this be like special content, like, hey, this is the stuff I had to edit out because it was a little spicy,
yeah,
Listeners beware. There's opinions in here.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm just saying I don't want there to be any like hostility or worry here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shakespearicles mentioned getting older. I think your late teens, early 20s are the time you embarrass yourself, regardless of what you're doing or what you believe.
Oh,
or what you're
absolutely.
thinking.
That's the human experience. And
Yeah,
and fiction. Just to be clear, like I'm not like taking sides about like which religion is right or wrong. I'm just saying that the idea of religion as a communal gathering is a very human experience, and you're going to find that
Yes, it
everywhere.
is.
Yeah,
And you can make
I
anything
remember
out of
there
that.
was one guy who said, I saw them say that I thought was interesting quote. Um, oh, what was it again? I don't think that the human brain is built to be able to be non-religious. They said something to that effect, and I kind of thought, well, it kind of depends on how you've trained yourself. I believe, you know, I've never believed in a god of any sort, and I I'm able to function like that, and there are some depressing parts about it, like that I can't just you know, think, oh, magic is going to fix it. You know, God's going to come along and make things better. I have a very practical, clinical, sort of morbid view of the world that makes me depressed sometimes because I can't rely on the crutch of thinking that magic might help make things better. And my brain has just always worked like that, and it's made me a very resistant to scams and other kinds of emotional manipulation that people might try to use on me to get me to get into crypto or whatever other types of scams that are separate from religion that I've seemed to have a extra resistance to because of the way that I've trained my brain to work, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with that, because the human brain, you're half right. Okay, when they say the human brain isn't designed to exist without religion, the human brain is designed to have pattern recognition. That is the most basic fundamental breakdown of that. We look for patterns because we use patterns to develop expectations and to make assumptions of our world. Now, I could walk down the street and at any moment there could be a sinkhole that could appear under my feet and I would fall into the void. And there's not a 0% chance of that happening. There's a chance that that could happen. But like if you if you constantly expect the floor to fall from under you, that your next breath of air could have a bacteria in it that makes you sick and you have to keep being worried about everything all the time, you can't function. You have to assume that if you keep breathing, you'll be okay. You keep walking forward, you'll be okay. Maybe you won't be, but you have to make these assumptions that you're going to be okay to some degree. Otherwise, you can't function. And like in the metaphysical sense, like when you get like really depressed about all that, the knowledge that nothing matters, while accurate, gets you nowhere. The planet is dying, the sun is exploding, the universe is cooling, and nothing is going to matter. And the further you pull back, the more that truth will endure. But when you zoom in on Earth, when you zoom in on a family, when you zoom in on a human being, on a human brain and a childhood and an experience, you see that these things matter. We have this fleeting chance to participate in this illusion called I love my girlfriend, this illusion called I love my dog. And how is that not better?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
you make whatever purpose there is to have in life. Like
I mean that's
that's huge
exactly why.
inside.
Sorry, that's exactly why I listen to so many podcasts and do whatever to just distract my brain from silence. Like just like with Casket Base's story before, I okay, actually, there's this really scary, one of the most scary parts of a TV show that I've ever watched. It was in Foundation. It's a really cool sci-fi TV show that I highly recommend. But there was this one bit that I found to be the most scary and horrific punishments that I could ever imagine someone getting, and that's to be unable to hear, see, smell, taste, or do anything, to be fed intravenously so that you just yeah, you're fed automatically and you don't get to taste anything. And that was the punishment that a villain gave to one of his henchmen that betrayed him, was that she was just going to exist as not being able to do anything and just existing in a complete void for the rest of her entire life. And
Well,
that's terrifying me.
Yeah,
And
sensory
that is
deprivation.
exactly, and that's yeah the most horrific thing I can imagine, and I kind of get those vibes whenever I stop listening to a podcast and I have to exist with my own thoughts for a bit. I find that terrifying in itself, and you know, there's been
I mean, we're
times when
basically
I've been in
describing the character from Metallica's song One,
yeah
after he got blown up by a landmine. Uh, and this kind of comes back to philosophy, ontological philosophy, the philosophy of existence, where Kant says, I think, therefore I am. And I know that's the famous version of it, but I really think the more accurate version is I experience, therefore I am. So you could have that situation that you're describing where you cut off all of the senses and you're literally just a brain inside of a corpse being biologically kept alive, but you're unable to move or sense or feel, and all you have is just your thoughts in the dark void. And you don't exist in that case. You might think, but it's like a dream state, and
all
that's
you'd
pretty
really have left
terrifying.
is your memories to keep repeating over and over in your head.
Yes, which is why blind people who are born blind experience blindness fundamentally differently than people who had vision and then go blind. If you really want to go down this rabbit hole, I would recommend the show called Black Mirror if you haven't already watched it.
Oh yeah, I've watched
I know it
all
by
of Black Mirror, I
reputation.
think,
Yes,
unless there's been
there's
more.
there's a Christmas episode for Black Mirror where someone gets like put like they have their brain uploaded into a prison, and then that even though they exist somewhere else, their entire there's two a copy of their
They get copied.
mind, a copy of their mind gets put into this machine, but then like they gets trapped in there with no interaction for like 1,000 years.
Subjectively.
Yeah, so, like,
That kind of reminds
oh
me
yeah,
of
you know the episode. You've seen
Smarty
the episode, so I
Pants.
know you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
But I recommend that episode. I forget what it's called, but it's the Black Mirror Christmas
White
episode.
Christmas. That's the
White
one.
Christmas, yes,
Yeah, that's the
yes,
Christmas
and that's
episode.
exactly what you're talking about. And that I watched that episode, and that messed me up. I was like, I'm not okay. I need a hug.
Connection. Anybody here read Background Pony?
Yes.
Probably
I'll
not.
leave that there. I cried like a bitch after I read that story. I was messed up for quite a few weeks.
Yeah.
Like the sight of black hoodies like made my stomach tighten.
Sounds like something
That-
I should read.
That so
It's
yeah.
long. It's very long.
All right,
It's also worth it.
let me give you the short version, okay? Without any real big spoilers beyond like what you're gonna get in the short description. Lyra has this effect around her where people don't remember her after they talk to her. So like she'll meet somebody like, oh hey, I've never seen you around, and then she'll be, oh yeah, I'm Lyra, blah 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 blah, and they're like, oh well, it was nice to meet you, right? And then like they immediately forget her. So like so it's like 51st dates with everyone.
Oh
So
man, I actually
so
Yeah.
had my first date to watching 50 First Dates, which was kind of
Yeah.
ironic.
but here's the thing. So like she's had this conversation with everyone like hundreds of times, and I think that the reason the one of the, I'm not getting I don't want to get too far into the story, but I think fundamentally the vibe of the story is that it's an analog for being dead.
Yeah,
It's
she's a
like
ghost, basically.
yeah, it's like being dead because one of the biggest fears for everyone, like when they die, is like when I die, how am I going to be remembered? Am I going to be remembered? And in this case, if nobody remembers her anyway, she's basically already dead,
Yeah,
which
she doesn't
is
exist.
yeah, it's terrifying. And there's a lot to that story. There's a reason why it has as much fame as it does. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, there's a reason it's in the Boston College of Psychology's recommended reading list.
Wait, seriously?
Hey,
Yes,
yep.
yep.
Damn.
Like
That's
that
so
story is really about how nihilistic do you want to be about existence, which sounds so pretentious, but the whole story is just Lyra's personal writings of no, I can't communicate with anyone, but I can still do things that people won't remember. She still is able to affect the world in indirect ways, and she makes the most of it.
yeah, like she can make an impact on the world even if she doesn't get any credit for it because it is the good thing to do, the right thing that she must do because it is
She
the
can
right
save the
thing.
world, but nobody will remember her.
Yeah, it's like you look on your left and like, oh, there's that tool I was looking for. It just appeared there, right? Because it was serendipitous luck. But like if she put it there and then you were able to save the day, you saved the day, really. She helped, but like she's not going to get any credit for it, but she was the thing that she must do. And
Yeah, so
that's
she
the
goes from like a ghost to maybe a guardian angel type, if you want to
yeah.
like ascribe certain labels. It's a really deep
She's a
story.
she's a guardian angel in a world of atheists. That's how I would describe it.
And then like, not to spoil anything, but like the ending, the like the three possible endings and the one that like um that she chooses, like, and like why she chooses it, it just
Yeah, the cosmic choice at the end. That's heavy
holy
stuff.
crap, man.
Come
Yeah,
on,
it's
I don't want to do this right now. I'm getting misty.
yeah. We can wrap it up here. I brought up that because you're talking about deprivation, and I thought, well, background pony seems to fit the punishment of isolation. It's a
Yes.
hefty one, and
It is. That's very on theme.
And
oof.
I've actually been through social isolation several times in my life for like multiple years. That's why, it took some courage for me to get back on the microphone and stuff like that. Because basically, I got ostracized from the Brony fandom in like 2018 because I got drunk on Discord too much and made horrible Facebook rants and stuff like that while I was drunk. And I basically, yeah, got ostracized from my local Brony fandom, and I felt so bad about it that I basically, from 2018 to 2021, when I finally got back on YouTube and started reading the audiobooks, I was basically completely socially isolated. I'd only talk to like, the lady at the Centrelink to make sure my unemployment payments keep coming, and yeah, that was a pretty dark time of my life, and I was like, yeah, drinking a lot more because of the social isolation. Didn't feel like I had any people to be responsible and sober for. So, yeah,
But you had friends who made sure you got better.
yeah.
You
So
had friends in
basically, I
Maritime
started
Bay.
the started reading the audiobooks. I started joining, Brony discords, and yeah, I got back into being more social again. But I
Well, I'm
still
sorry. I'm
have some
sorry that
damage and some you know what do you call it, social fears from those times. That I'm still, yeah, working to get over. But yeah,
Well,
so sorry to
you
dump all that.
no, if I was gonna wrap it around to this is how a unicorn thinks. If that story like really struck a nerve for you, if it made you feel seen and heard, then I hope I did you some good.
Yeah, I suppose there was quite a bit of relevance there to what I went through. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
On that note, we should wind down for the night.
Yeah. Thanks for coming, you guys. And
Yep.
I'll see you next
See
time.
you next time.
Yeah. I wish you all the best with the other interviews, especially TCC. Casual friends with that author. We both like Cozy Glow. So whenever you do the TCC episode, bring Cozy Glow up. I'm sure it'll.
Oh dang, man! The peanut gallery grows.
All right.
Yeah. Best of luck to you all.
Thank you.
All right.
Catch us later.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks again for having me. See ya.
It's the Mystery Pony Fiction Channel. Mystery. Also available as a podcast on Spotify. Pony and Dizzy Moonbow is best pony, by the way.